KRBrickBot, and Tobot V's been in limbo right now. I mean, there hasn't been any new TV media. I guess they're just still flying through space. And thus, the only new Tobot V products for this year are the mini versions of last year's Season 3 Tobots, released this summer. Yeah, Super 10's the new stuff, but for the old Tobot, yeah, this is all we got. So, looking at the new style of packaging, it still has that flat color style, but the side of the box at least emulates the bigger box style of the panel lines and the number 1 mini Tachyon. Some hexagonicals and gradients here and there. I think I ordered this from a smaller store, that's why they tend to put the price tag right on the boxes. The back, it has some comic halftones, but mostly in the frame and a little globe tag with the name here. Robot and Vehicle V, since April of 2022, released in June. And the side is the vehicle. So we have a little mini Tachyon space Lamborghini and the original bigger Tachyon to directly compare. Yeah, it still has the general shape of the, the space Lambo. And of course, it has the main primary color, like the black paint instead of the separate plastic. But it's very good, well applied black paint. I think these vents might be separate plastic though, so there's that. And the toe key here, which is white and flattened and permanently molded on the hood instead of this detachable metal thing, which is fine for a little cheap version. Although the hood is looking a little less cleaned up because, like big white hinge when this hinge is just flat and painted over. It still has a little, that little sensor there, the futuristic sensor, although being this simplified, it just looks like a connecting stump. Doesn't actually connect to anything. It has the white paint that's kind of chipping off on here. Painted solid lights. It has enough of the white striping here. Painted on the front, but the plastic on the back. When in turn, this entire section right here is painted blue. It's good color matching, but you can feel that you can look at the different texture shine, and it is kind of flaking off on this edge here. So, and I don't know about you, but I think these mini wheels are looking a little too big than this one, which looks just about fine. They're not painted, but they do have the sculpting and the mini Tachyon on the rims. And they are like inverse pinned wheels, so they are pinned in there, no clip-ons. So which means this thing rolls a little better than this ring wheel. The back is obviously going to be less decorated. It just has the simple squares and suggested spots for tail lights, but no paint there because there's already blue paint all over this thing. At least there's a keyhole for a non-existent key. Then looking at the roof, you can see the simplifications here. I mean, it still has the key design elements, but it also does a little bit of an extra tab raised over there for connections, and also 3 vents instead of 4. Still has the arrows in there. Of course, it's simplified, but yeah, overall it does a good job of making a good proportional downscaling of the original. It seems these Season 3 mini Tobots have gotten minier. I mean, yeah, this is the Season 1 thing, so that's a bit of a smaller Lambo. Especially with this. It's quite smaller. It's shorter. It has less width. Tire size is comparable, but yeah, it's a smaller Lambo, so not sure if it's budget or intentional, but yeah, so it's smaller than previous Tobots and Deluxe Transformer cars, but it's still sizable enough to be maybe a small kind of racer. Transforming it should be mostly the same as the big one. First few parts for the entire roof off. There's no hinge here, so you just have to take it off completely. You unlatch the side cable here. Guess you can take these arms apart and just swing them out. Torso up, waist around. Feet on one hinge. I think poke that head from behind. Then snap those kibble in place. And then reattach the kibble with these clips. These clips that are on the underside, and you can't really see them except for the cutout holes. Sure is a mini Tachyon. It's a good body build. It's a good lean body build. So as it only works with blue and white plastic with black wheels and vents, I mean, there's going to be some paint simplifications. Like none of those little accents here and there. Except 2 on the blue pelvic area, but the rest of it is pretty unpainted. And the knees are not that symmetrical because there had to be space for the extra clip or something. The extra clip for the parts forming windshield. And this is all one single piece. This is a single piece. And thus it's all blue and there's no space for white. I mean, they painted the white on the sides, but not all the way to the bottom. What were separate flaps on the little feet here are just, molded on the same foot. It's all one piece. So that is a interesting, clever way they figured out how to budget like what was like a 3-piece part into one piece. So there's that. Midriff section's looking faithfully downsized, like with the little buttons here, but there is a little extra raised triangle here that's not on this one for some reason, huh? It's asymmetrical. Yeah, you have this asymmetrical cutout here, but what is this, huh? There's the one molded in there, but it's painted all over. I mean, why? I mean, is it too small to just pick out only the background and not the number itself? Unfortunately, that one-piece simplification means for some reason he doesn't actually have heels, so he needs the kibble as extra heel struts. He's just standing on his tippy toes. If you just lift up those kibble, he actually has terrible feet for standing. The head is the head. It only has the dominant white stripe on his helmet and his white face and the baby blue visor. Doesn't have space or the budget for these extra little details, but I guess what they have here is sufficient. His neck plate is just floating there. Articulation. Nothing at the head, which is floating on a neck plate. They really screwed with the back of his head. Ball socket shoulders that go all the way around and a little outward that much. The kibble getting in the way. That's it. There is no elbow. You lie, box! To move those rather hollow hands on the outside. They look hollower than the inside. Not to mention a big gaping hole for the shoulder ball socket. But why does it need to be a hole and not a slot? The hinge transformational joints can go like butterfly forward. Transformational waist swivel. Ball socket forward and diagonal out. At least they don't pop off. Backward that much. Splits that much. Of course, no thigh swivel and a bit of a soft ratchet obtuse knee. And the transformational toe forward that's kind of useless. Articulation is to be expected for a $10 Tobot V Mini, but I'm disappointed they don't even have the basic elbows. Like, most of all these V Tobots have elbows to some capacity. He may have been a bit small in car mode, but in bot mode, his height is comparable to a deluxe. Though that head is looking awfully small. That's a bit of a small head compared to the typical head. I mean, the head really defines the proportions and suggested size. Because this small head might suggest it's meant to be like a larger bot, not in this scale, but this look like it's a good scale, but the head is just too small. I don't know, I guess I'm just not feeling this one. I mean, I guess there's nothing really wrong with a $10 deluxe sized mini Tobot V, it's just doing the same thing as always. I guess this just doesn't feel good in the hand to transform as the other mini Tobots. Especially since you have this parts forming shield and not just a hinge. Yeah, I guess just might be a little harder to pull these out than the bigger one. But I think the quality might have taken a dip. I mean, the plastic's fine, it's the same sturdy plastic as always, but the paints, ooh, there's like several instances of the paint running over in little strands, like little driplets and some underwash spots. They're applied fine, but the run over is excessive. It's pretty mid. Let's see how the next one fares.